I want to be rich. I really, really want to be rich. It's been one of the most, not pervasive, but consistent goals throughout my entire life since I was a young kid. One of the first goals that I set my eyes on as a young kid was to be the richest person in the world. Now maybe that's a bit too grand. Who knows? Maybe that's, maybe I don't actually want that, and so on and so on. But I want to be rich. That has remained. I want to be wealthy. I want to have the capacity to do whatever I want, whenever I want, forever. I want money. I want money for this life, as do so many other people in this world. And so now I have to reconcile this desire of mine to be wealthy. I have to reconcile this with a separate, seemingly perpendicular desire to elevate myself to become like a sage, as Seneca would call the sage, a wise person, someone who is maximally virtuous. But you're just not virtuous to want to be rich. And this is now what I have to reconcile. First of all, it was good enough for Seneca. Seneca was very well off, was very wealthy, and yet he had the letters on ethics that he wrote to Lucilius, and Seneca can justify it. He justified it to himself. So this is my attempt. I don't actually know his justification. I should probably go look at it, but this is my attempt at justifying why it's still acceptable to be rich, to want to be rich, when you also have another goal in life, to be maximally virtuous. Now, my primary goal in this life has evolved. As a naive child, yes, it was to be the richest person in the world, but it has evolved, and my goal now, from everything that I've learned from interacting with this world, is to have the largest positive impact on as many people as possible, as I possibly can. So the largest impact possible on as many people as possible. Positive impact. That's my goal. And why would anyone think that's not congruent with wanting to be rich? In order to have this immense impact, as a byproduct, I would end up being rich. As a en route to this, I would be rich. But then also, if you are rich, it increases my capacity to have a positive impact on more people. And so I don't see them to be things that are incongruent. Capitalism, founded by Adam Smith, we are led by the invisible hand. You get paid for your use, for your value in this world. If I help as many people as possible to the maximum extent, that should, under a capitalist society, which our society primarily operates as, and most societies operate as, and most countries have capitalist features in terms of wealth creation, at least. They protect private property, etc., etc. So capitalism says that if I help people, or if I want to be rich, I must help people. So these things are not incongruent. These things are fundamentally congruent. I can have both, and I want both, and I will pursue both. Wealth is influence. I want influence, not for myself. Who actually knows? Like, yes, okay, maybe a lot of this, me wanting to be rich, is because I want the image of it. Maybe it's because I want the power. Maybe it's because I want to be held in high regard, to be respected, to have the status, to have nice things, to be indulgent, to have things that are unnecessary but nice things to have. Maybe I want to infect myself with this extensive spending on extravagant things. Maybe that's what I want. Maybe this is the true reason why I want to be rich. And now it's not virtuous. That's a problem I'm going to have to deal with. That's a problem. The whole goal is to uproot that and to move myself towards this person that wants to be rich for the goal of having the largest positive impact possible on as many people as possible. That's what I want to move towards. But regardless of whether these other things are having an influence on me in the interim, on my pursuit to being wealthy, it still will pay to be wealthy and will pay in the direction of a positive impact on as many people as possible. So even if I am not virtuously motivated in this interim, it can still have the results that I want, that I do want. And it can still eventually lead me to a place where I can dispel these external factors that are motivating me, that are perhaps motivating me. I have a suspicion, not really a suspicion, I know that they are motivating me in some way or another, and I would like them to be to motivate me as minimally as possible, and for me to be fully motivated by this positive impact goal that I have. But the point is that it's not going to stop me. The fact that, yes, I have motivations that aren't virtuous, even though my goal is to be to be the most virtuous person that I possibly can, it's not going to stop me from pursuing wealth, because it is not incongruent and I can still pursue it. It's not something that just because my motivations are not necessarily aligned, I must not pursue it, because there is good to be had over there. And if I can get rid of these external unvirtuous things that are driving me, and I can still pursue that, or at least in the interim use them to pursue wealth, what's the problem? What's the problem with that? In school, in fact, a lot of the things that I've succeeded with so far in life, academically, leadership, these types of things, not wealth yet, because I'm still a student. Let me not make excuses, but I'm still a student and I haven't directed a lot of my attention towards wealth creation. But it's something that I want, but I haven't done enough to be wealthy yet. Of course not. Okay, but a lot of these other things that I have been successful in, I was not virtuously motivated at the outset, and yet the thing that I pursued, no one would say is a negative thing, or no one would say is something that is problematic, is that should not be pursued, is something that creates a negative force in this world. The things that I pursued were still positive. Now, just to make this more realistic, I'll give examples. I pursued at school, I wanted to be the head boy, and largely because I admired the head boys in the years above me, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to be the subject of admiration. Obviously, that was not the exclusive thing that was driving me, otherwise I wouldn't have got the position, but that was one of the main motivators that kept it in my mind day to day, whether I like it or not, and I don't like it, but that's something that was motivating me, and so I got the position through this being a front of mind thing for me. I sculpted myself into the person who deserved it, and so I ended up with the position. Then when I had the position, I wanted to be the person who was admired, who was regarded in this way, and so in order to be regarded in that way, I had to be a good head boy. And in order to be a good head boy, I had to do all these good things. But the idea that was driving me was not to have the positive impact, was not to be present as a head boy in order to show my support, or in order to be supportive, in order to encourage. That was not necessarily the thing that was driving me. The thing that was driving me was that I wanted to be regarded as a head boy, and I needed to do a good head boy, and in order to be regarded as that, I had to do these other things that were intrinsically good. Another example, I wanted to be the the duck student. I wanted to come first in school and then in varsity as well. And I wanted to pursue those things. And I wanted to pursue them so that for myself, so that I can say, I worked the hardest, I deserve this better than anyone else. No one else knows this material better than me. I am the best at this. I am the king of this thing. I wanted the dominance of that area. Obviously, again, that was not the exclusive thing that was driving me. I actually had a fundamental curiosity for the knowledge. I wanted to learn. I cared about knowing more. I cared about setting myself up for more opportunities. Yes, all these other things. But a fundamental thing that was driving me was that I wanted to be the best. And that's not a virtuous thing. It's not a virtuous thing, the comparison. Yes, it's virtuous to aim as highly as you can, but it's not virtuous to aim as highly as you can relatively, because that creates a tension. It creates a strut force pushing you away from everyone else. And while that pushes you up towards the direction of being as great as you can be, it also pushes other people down. And so it's not the most virtuous thing. And yet I still pursued it, and it resulted in me learning a lot, becoming knowledgeable, developing a work ethic, getting into the varsity that I wanted to get into, being able to study the thing that I wanted to study, now studying it, doing well, setting myself up for a career that could be successful, developing skills that could be successful to start a business at a later point. And so, yes, I wasn't aimed virtuously when I was pursuing these things, but did it not result in something that was positive? And now looking back, I can move forward with better intentions. I grapple with myself on a continuous basis in order to move myself to the direction of being this ideal, towards the sage, towards this person that has the highest positive impact possible. And in order to have the highest positive impact possible, I believe that I have to be extremely rich, extremely wealthy. Elon Musk is extremely wealthy, and he has had an immense impact on this world. Someone who is much more virtuous. I don't know exactly a person's name, but just say someone who is extremely charitable, works at a soup kitchen, gives themselves to the poor, all these completely virtuous, but is not wealthy in any way, gives all their time and service to others, giving, not expecting anything, not gaining for themselves their own wealth in any way. This person who works at the soup kitchen, who whatever, that's not the point, that they give themselves fully, but not trying to be rich. Yes, they move more virtuous than say someone who's trying to be wealthy, but have they had the positive impact that Elon Musk has had? Even though Elon Musk was not aimed like this other person. Yes, Elon Musk is virtuous. He often talks about like wanting to be an interplanetary species so that he can save the human race, all these type, wants to move electric vehicles to save planet from global warming. Yeah, I get it. So I mean, he is virtuous, but was he? The point I'm making is that there's definitely someone else in this world who didn't aim themselves towards business, and who was more virtuous than him, but has had less of a positive impact. And so the point I'm making is that yes, it's good to have the deontological foundations of trying to be virtuous, but that's not enough. We have to also see this world from a consequentialist perspective. What are we actually achieving? What's the outcome? So, sure, it's great to deontologically want to be this person, has a duty towards virtue. Sure, that's great, but what about actually multiplying your possibilities, becoming this wealthy person who can have this great positive impact? And then there's the questions of this is a bit of a tangent. I'm going to try to keep it brief, of whether you donate along the way, or whether you only donate once you're rich, or whether you keep everything and keep putting it into the business and multiplying the business to become greater. These are all side questions, but my quick brief answer to this, I believe that you do what's best in the moment. If the moment calls for your next dollar to be spent in this direction that results in the greatest positive good, then fine, do that. If it means withholding that dollar to reinvest it into your business, to invest it into a new venture, whatever, then you do that. And that might make you believe that yes, you should keep everything and bet on yourself until it multiplies. Or you might believe I should give everything and bet that it's not going to multiply. But realistically, you should have some continuous giving in your life and still withhold a good portion of it in order to reinvest so that you can give more later. So yeah, anyway, that's a brief answer to that question, side question about why I want to be rich. But the point is that we can't just look at wanting to be rich through a deontological lens. Yes, the ideal is to move there where I want to be rich purely for the reason that I want to have the positive impact. Yes, that's ideal. But in the interim, I'm not going to wait for myself to be that person in order to pursue that money. To hell with that. I'm pursuing the money right now. Maybe, okay, yeah, right now I'm filming a video. So yes, I'm pursuing the money right now. I'm not going to wait until my virtues align. I'm going to try and hasten that. I'm going to try and be as most virtuously aligned as possible. I'm going to try and eliminate these things that are infecting my ability to become a sage. I'm going to try and eliminate those things. But in the interim, I want to fucking get some money. What? I want to become rich. I need to pursue this thing regardless of whether I have a virtuous intention or not, just because of the consequential positive impact that I have to have as a result of it. And yes, not then, but along the way, I'll take care of the deontological side. All things in philosophy and all these things, we have two ways of looking at things, a deontological perspective and a consequentialist perspective. And we can argue for things from both perspectives. Deontological means I have a duty to. Consequentialist means I pursue the thing that has the greatest positive good. So there's two ways of reasoning for a particular outcome. And some people believe in deontological reasoning or in consequentialist reasoning. I believe in you apply the one that is best for that scenario. And for this scenario, it's consequentialist to prevent the procrastination, but deontological to maximize the amount that I'm giving to this world. Yeah, that's it.